Hey guys, welcome to Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, aka Stanley Parable 2? At least that's what they call it here. Figured I'd try something different, possibly a little adventurous, little weird, but we can take a few different paths through the game and try some stuff out. Alright. Begin the game. The end is never the end.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Nope, no co-workers here.
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Maybe I just like touching everybody's stuff when they're not here. Get it all full of germs. Meeting today in the meeting room. Push all the buttons, touch all the things.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
The door on the left. Alright, chat. Which door? Which door should I go? Left or right? Alright, time's up. Going left. Right. Other doors. Choose. There we go. Oh yeah, we have the little Stanley bobblehead type of figures around, I think. I played this once before, long time ago. But I do remember there are like some kind of collectibles to get. Ah, yes, the good old broom closet.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
I don't think so, though. I think I like to spend my time in the broom closet.
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet.
Nope.
No reason to still be here.
There's plenty of reasons. Just look at that sexy duct tape. And that wrench.
It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
But look at that mop bucket and this broom.
Are you really still in the broom closet?
I am.
Standing around doing nothing?
That's what I do. That's what I
Please
do
offer me
best.
some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused.
But duct tape and wrenches. I mean, how can you not love this broom closet?
You do realize there's no choice or anything in here, right?
There's plenty
If
of
I'd said
choices.
Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. But it didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever.
Nope.
I never would have thought to mention it.
No, we're gonna sit here. This is the best part of the story right here.
Maybe to you this is somehow its own branching path.
It is.
Maybe when you go talk about this with your friends, you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet
broom
ending
closet
was my
ending.
favorite."
That is the best
I
ending.
hope your friends find this concerning.
Nope. They're on board. I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure all the friends are like, yep, the broom closet
Stanley
ending.
was
It's the
fat and
best.
ugly and really, really stupid. He probably only got the job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he is. That or with drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Yeah, that's below the belt there, buddy. There's no reason to name call and
Well, I've come
shame.
to a very definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead. You got to this broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave because there's nothing here when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapsed on the keyboard. Well, in a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of before it begins to decompose.
But I'm not at my
Hello?
keyboard.
Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead.
I'm not at a computer.
Therefore,
I'm in the
prey
broom
to
closet.
Any number of your countless
Obviously.
human physiological vulnerabilities. It's indicative of the long-term sustainability of your species. Please remove their corpse from the area and instruct another human to take their place, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them. All right, when you've done that, just step out into the hallway.
Every interaction I use sounds like a keyboard. It's probably my arthritis in my fingers clicking on everything. It just sounds like keyboard after a while. Alright, I suppose I should move on.
Second player. It's good to have you on board.
Second player.
I guarantee
Yeah,
you can't do any
this is the
worse
first
than
one
the person
died in
who
the broom
came before
closet.
you.
Wait, wait, wait.
You too? Unbelievable.
There we go.
I'm at the mercy of an entire species of invalids. Perhaps there's a monkey nearby you can hand the controls to. A fish? Fungus?
Fungus.
Look, you can hammer out the details. I'm not particularly picky. I'll just be waiting for when you're ready to pick up the story again.
There we go. Alright.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Downstairs, he says, huh? No, wait, let's go up. We'll do the up route, I suppose. So over here. The executive bath. Is this the boss's office?
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number. 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
And push the random button in the elevator.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
And now it's broke. Probably.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
The light is on. I can just interact with nothing. And it still makes keyboard sounds. That's concerning. The door shut on me. I am now trapped. Light button.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
That screen broke up there. That guy's fired, that guy's fired. I'm gonna be fired for hacking into the boss's office.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Need more choices. Let's go.
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept
Pirate.
it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Perhaps. Depends how much they pay.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
But will I?
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine. Unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Except now you wake up. You realize you're back in the office.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
What
Stanley
could it
decided to go
mean?
to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Here's the
Stanley
bucket.
lifted the bucket into his arms,
And
and a
a
wave
bucket.
of comfort rushed over him.
That's right. I have the bucket.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Alright, here we going, left to right. Left to right.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
It is the place to be. It's where all the
And here it
lounging
was. Had the
happens.
bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful. No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
Nope. We're going this way.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else.
The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
That's how the bucket sounds. We're going this way.
You're getting close now, Stanley. You've nearly gotten all of the Figler and Marines. Very soon, you'll collect the last one, and then the first number will equal the second number, and that will be it. We'll be different people by then. Different in the sense that we used to have none of them, and now we have them all. You can't go back to when you had no Figler and Marines. None of us can.
As I've mentioned, I have played this once before. Ooh. We have a tunnel in the vent. Where does this lead us? Guess we're going this way. Ooh, tape recorder.
Okay, this is day number 295. Tape number... I don't even know. I've lost track. Nothing feels real anymore. The longer I study this bucket, the less sense anything makes. The sheer euphoria I feel every time I pick it up. No matter how many times I've done it, it's always the same feeling. And the emptiness in my chest when I set it down. It doesn't make sense. There's no explanation for it. I still haven't figured out why I see the world so differently when this bucket is in my arms. Why everything feels so... What do I do with this treasure? I can monetize it. Yes. It's unthinkable the amounts of money people will pay for even just an hour with the bucket. This is my golden ticket. But I have to
It is a pretty
careful,
nice bucket.
because as soon as this gets out, there's going to be a target on my back. Even now, I don't know who might be trying to get... What's that? Who's there? Camporata.
All right then. A bit of a bucket mystery. And we are back. So we got like
All
a
of his
tape
co-workers were
recorder
gone.
ending.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. The confusion and the chaos all seemed to
bucket.
melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket.
Yes, embrace the bucket.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
So the right.
This was not
Got
the
it.
correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to be.
Moving on.
No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
Maybe.
And so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door. Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy. It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket. I can really feel it now. It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say here. It's supposed to go with the other cleaning supplies. Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in. Don't hand over the bucket. I know how hard it must be, given the pressure that the broom closet is putting on your shoulders right now, but you have to be strong. This is your bucket. This is your companion and lifelong friend. You can't hand it over. Oh no. We're getting into name-calling now, it seems. Is this how low the broom closet has sunk, that it has to resort to this stream of petty insults simply in order to get you to hand over the bucket? Stanley, I never liked this broom closet for a variety of reasons, but even this is worse than I had imagined. And wait. Now the broom closet has the gall to imply that you and the bucket are not truly deep and lasting friends, that your relationship is purely superficial and convenient, that your life is so banal and meaningless that you feel the same sort of kinship towards any inanimate object which happened to lay in your path in an even partially enticing manner. Well, I never.
I never.
Go on, Stanley. Lay into it. Really tell the broom closet off for its demeaning comments. Expand on the wide variety of experiences you and the bucket have shared together. Go through each of them point by point. Share your journal entries detailing the rich emotional landscape of your feelings for the bucket as they have changed and evolved over the years. Let him have it. Okay, I've got you something which I think will help settle this debate once and for all. Here we go. There.
There we
Now
go.
it's settled. No more debate, no more discussion. Take a hike, broom closet, with all your meandering philosophical diatribes about the nature of cleaning supplies and their relationship to broom closets in the natural order of things.
Yes.
All right, I've come into a staircase. Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
That was the second sticker. I think it was delayed a little bit. Ah, anybody know? One of these guys.
And there it is, the last Stiggly Wiggly. Savor this moment, Stanley. This is a real accomplishment. This is doing something just for the sake of doing it. Where so many people expect to be rewarded for the most trivial achievements, you've insisted that a job well done is its own reward. I would tell you that I'm proud of you for collecting them all, but that would be like a reward, and we can't have that.
Nope,
So,
can't have that.
instead I'll just say, it's done. We're all done here. And now we can go to whatever the hell you were doing before you hunted for figurines. But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort. And that's when Stanley realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is all terribly wrong. Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket. And indeed, now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. And now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it.
I must
Far
find
off in
the
the distance
bucket.
now, he heard it, calling to him.
Stanley! Stanley, it's me, the bucket.
Could it truly be? He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next.
Oh.
None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket.
Come to me, Stanley. Find me.
Oh no.
He had to find the bucket.
I
He
need
had
my
to
bucket.
return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along. It was incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out. This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Okay.
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and
Bucket
security,
of
and
comfort.
walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket.
Exactly.
Of course, he'd
The
gone mad,
bucket.
ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place.
Must have been it.
How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this.
No.
There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself.
Heck
My
yes.
life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
Hack flipped all the way to work. That's intense. Here's my
Stanley, I'm
bucket.
sorry, but I have to put a pause on things. It's those figurines. Those figures.
Oh, man.
I haven't stopped thinking about them since you nabbed every last one.
Yes,
Wasn't it just
fake
the most
hallway.
intrinsically fulfilling moment of your entire life? Didn't it fill you to the brim with inner richness? Yes, I know we're
Yeah.
supposed to be telling a story, but
Richness.
won't you please indulge me with one more trip back to the memory zone?
The
I
memory
would
zone.
love nothing more than to revisit the figurines just one more time.
Oh, I suppose. Memory zone. Now remembering when Stanley found the collectibles. Oh, look at this. The memory zone. What's over here? Nothing. Zone, sweet zone. Huh. The Stanley Parable, a Steam review page. Good times. The original remake. Postcards. Nice, nice.
Here's where it all began. The first collectible. Back then, we had no idea of how many of them we'd find. Sure, it said 6 right there on the screen, but how could we know for certain?
How
We
indeed.
were so innocent.
It
We'll
could have
never
been
be
like
that again,
8 or
Stanley.
10 or 12. Floating out into space. Yeah. It is the collectible. 7 out of 6. Love it.
And here was a second Stanlerine. You found this one all on your own, just by poking around by the red and blue doors. You did that, Stanley. I'll
8
be
out of
honest.
6.
Back then, I had no faith in you to find any of them, let alone 6. But you continue to surprise me in all sorts of mundane, unremarkable ways. Okay, let's do a little quiz. Which of these rooms was the room you found your third mini Stan? Can you remember?
Nope, I don't know. We're just gonna go this way.
Hey, that's exactly right. It was here in the boss's bathroom. It was the third one. You picked it up, and then after that, you had 3 of them. I'm
Sure.
glad these moments are so crystal clear in your memory, but I shouldn't be surprised. After all, science tells us that it's impossible to forget your third time doing anything.
That seems unlikely.
Let's see, what came next? Oh yes, we found a Figley in this pink room. Oh, well, I can't actually say I remember being in this room, but it's here in the memory zone,
I
so
don't
it must
remember.
have
I
happened.
don't remember this room either. I think he's just making stuff up. What's with these boxes over here?
This was the 5th mini Stan, and this one was really something special. It was in the warehouse. I remember it so clearly.
Yeah.
In fact, because this one is particularly special to me, I made a little video to commemorate the occasion. Enjoy.
Oh, here we go. Ah, yes, classic number 5. Edited by the narrator, music by the narrator, starring Stanley. Copyright the narrator.
Takes you back, doesn't it?
Oh,
I spent a lot
yes.
of time making that video, but it was 8 minutes I wouldn't have spent on anything else.
Alright. Well, as long as he had fun making that video, I mean, that's what it's really about.
And then, Stan,
yes.
then we came to the last collectible, the final
Yep.
figurine.
12
right
out of
here,
6.
under the stairs. This memory is the most distinct and clear in my mind, perhaps because it was the one that happened more recently than all the others.
Generally,
Who
yeah.
can truly say how the mind works? All I know is that this is the moment where you picked up a Figley and I thought to myself, yes, that's all of them. They're all collected. It was a moment unlike any other. Except for the other moments picking up figurines, which it was exactly like.
I mean, you can't go wrong with that logic. You
And
are
then
in the present.
there was no more. Because we've caught up to the present moment. Nothing left to do but move onward into the future. Goodbye, memory zone.
Goodbye.
No, I'm not done. I'm not ready to move on. Stop the loading screen.
Yep.
Isn't there some way we can stay here, keep enjoying these figurines? Let's just go backwards. We'll do the memory zone again from the opposite direction. See how that feels.
Alrighty.
Okay, yes, that spot under the stairs. I remember this. I must say, of all the figurines we looked at in our initial tour of the memory zone, this
you go.
one is the most distinct and clear in my mind. Let's keep going. I want more.
Getting kind of greedy with these memories. Yeah,
And here's where I made that video. Don't you remember the video we watched?
I do remember the video.
Yes, I love that video.
Best video ever. I rated 11 out of 10. And then the pink room.
Still don't remember the pink room, Stanley. Still no memory of this one. Good room, though. A solid room.
A solid room.
These really were a treat to hunt down. You know, if there had been any kind of reward for finding all of these, it really would have muted the intrinsic joy of collecting them. I'm very glad we resisted the temptation. Next
Yeah.
one.
Next.
This was our second Figley. Don't you remember? Yes, I remember it too. The past is truly a wonderful thing. Why does anyone ever choose to leave it? Keep going. This is it. The very first one we found in the exhibit where I introduced you to the figurines. Oh, I want more memories, Stanley. I want to keep going. What else is there? What came before this?
Collect them all. It's the big collectible statue.
Look, it's the terrible new content that we were originally sold on. I remember hating it back then, but time does put a rosy filter
The
on
jump
everything.
circle.
In fact, I dare say I'm actually quite fond of it now. Look how much fun the past is. I want more. More memories.
I don't even remember what the jump button is, if there is a jump button.
Oh, yes, the two doors. Who could have forgotten that? A classic memory, this one.
Classic.
And before everything else, there was your office.
Yep.
Is there anything else?
I hate
Was there something that
Mondays.
came before your office? There's something I feel I can remember. I can remember. Yes, I'm remembering something now. I remember before this whole story got started. Back then I was different. I used to make big decisions. I was passionate. I was skeptical. I weighed each decision with profound thoughtfulness. And then somewhere along the way, I stopped making decisions. I became lazy. And I came up with a character named Stanley to do my thinking for me. He would make the decisions. He would decide which way to go. I would cheer him on as he collected figurines for no reason. Why did I invent Stanley? Was I lonely? Yes, perhaps that's it. Perhaps I needed to imagine I had companionship. And Stanley really did make for a wonderful companion, even if he was a fiction. But
I was a
it's grown
fiction.
old. I want to think for myself again. I want to go back to how it used to be. Yes, I can be on my own again. I can do it. I'll be stronger this time. I'll take care of myself. I don't need Stanley anymore. Oh, but he truly was so much fun to play with. You know what? Since we're in the memory zone, how about one more good memory? Let's go back just once and give Stanley one more run of the office, and then I'll retire him for good.
No,
I
you
did
can't
enjoy telling his
retire
story
me.
so very much. Okay, here we go. This is the story of a man named Stanley. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Warmth spread through Stanley's arms. With the bucket in his arms again, he was home. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was it? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room. And so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door.
Nope.
Oh, good Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place eventually. You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care about you very much. It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the
Adventure
Broom Closet.
Line.
Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before.
But we want the bucket.
Yes, I know I'm
Or
the
I
one who
want the
gave
bucket.
you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line? We could make the Adventure
are my
Line go
friends.
somewhere new. Yes, yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it.
What about the baby? And broom closet. I love broom closet. Alright, back on the Adventure Line.
Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well.
Yes, the music.
Now this is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue? Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers. It's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly
For
like
the
this.
fans.
But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up.
I don't know about that. I feel like this bucket's gonna stay with me. I don't want nobody taking my bucket.
Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This
Character.
is the Bucket Destroyer.
Uh-oh.
I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to
Character.
me, it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree?
Part of the cast, huh?
Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you. Go ahead now, Stanley. Say goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready.
I don't know.
Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the bucket destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters? Well, you see, if you were to really explore the bucket destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits. What other object in this game can you even say that about? The broom closet? Certainly not. I wonder what sort of bucket destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this. Okay, the bucket destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get back to the classic Stanley Parable characters like the Adventure Line or the bucket destroyer until you crush that damn bucket. Quickly now, the fans are waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley. Get the fans what they want. Hurry and...
I think the fans want me to keep the bucket.
The bucket destroyer. My prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spellbinding stories about you. All of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time that you were here, you were magnificent.
Oh, man. Well, guys, I'm keeping the bucket. That's how it is. I'm sure you'll agree, we can never get rid of that bucket. Bucket is ours forever.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Stanley picked up the bucket and smiled. He'd never be alone again, not truly alone, not with the bucket around.
That's right.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Why not?
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers. Stanley, we must move on from this broom closet, simply because I have no remaining stickers. If I did, you can guarantee we'd be in here for hours. But alas, no stickers.
We don't need stickers. We don't need stickers to have a good time. We just need this bucket. A bucket and a broom closet, and we got it made. Ain't that right, people? I don't think there's any more dialogue for it.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Down is up, right?
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me.
Yeah,
in
usually.
difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and comfort.
It's an
And
imposter.
that's when Stanley realized
This isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket?
Yeah.
This is all terribly wrong.
It's happening
Surely
again.
no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket. And indeed, now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd.
It is.
Now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him.
Stanley, Stanley, it's me, the bucket.
Could it truly be? He rushed forward from room to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special
All the
bucket.
buckets.
Come to me, Stanley. Find me.
So many
He had
buckets.
to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along. It was incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up her bucket of comfort and security,
we hit this
and walked
ending
to her
again.
place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away,
Yep, that's
she
me
knew what the
collapsing
problem
dead on the
was.
sidewalk.
This man had no bucket. Of course he'd gone mad.
Well, it's 'cause
ranting
they
and
took it
raving
away
about
from
a
me when
narrator
I was walking through
describing
that
all of his
hallway.
actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
Alright.
All of his co-workers were gone. What
Let's
could it mean?
see.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Let's skip the bucket for now. Try something else.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Yeah, perhaps.
Standing now in this incredible room, Stanley for the first time understood true happiness. Then the feeling went away, and he felt sad again. Then it came back, and lingered for a minute or two. Now it's only half there. Just a kind of, tingle.
Tingle.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
That's me, eager to get back to business. Or am I?
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
That's right. Will cause death. I mean, wouldn't just falling from here cause death? Then climate your own risk. Indeed. Yeah, alright.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are
That's
you
right.
that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Yep.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door.
Red door. Well, this one's blue, so, I mean, that's obviously the choice.
All right, fine. Go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you.
That's right. My choice.
You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you?
Yeah.
Do you not think I put a lot of time into that?
It's new
'Cause I
content,
did.
right?
And in the end, it was all for nothing, because this is what you wanted to see.
Yep.
Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what. Let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option.
Ooh.
This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before.
There we go.
Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin.
That's right. That's what I'm talking
Okay,
about.
I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here. Okay, so we're getting somewhere.
That's
Clearly,
right.
there's something here that speaks to you. If I can be honest here, I really don't have any idea where I'm going with this. This whole third door thing was just a stab in the dark.
That's
but I
right.
guess you're into it, so let's keep this party train rolling.
That's right.
Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
Oh. Oh, worldwide leaderboard now. All right. Good old Neil, Skid, Nico Nacho. Okay. Wow. The worst. Career. Well, we will go through the third door.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please. Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you?
Sure, let's go.
Perfect. Let me boot it up. In this game,
Ha.
the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience.
Okay.
You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do.
no
I'm completely
comment.
out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game? Just to ease the pain. Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
Let us give it a shot indeed.
Aha! Fascinating. What do you think this game is about, Stanley? What's our backstory? What is our motivation? Well, it seems obvious to me that you are meant to play as a creepy man spying on innocent civilians below you from up high in your creep tower, perhaps for some sort of
Creep
twisted
tower?
erotic purpose.
Space
Yes,
buffs.
that must be it. What a fascinating venture into the experience of total mental depravity. So far, I love everything about this game, Stanley. And it seems there's even more. Come, let's venture outward and see what else is out there.
Yes, venturing. Oh, I should go the other way. Alright, now we're making progress.
Oh no. No, it can't be. It is. It's an open world game. Good God, quickly block it off.
Oh, what? No! I was so
Thank
close.
goodness, Stanley, what a close call. You nearly wandered off into that
That thing.
That big open, just wandering around, no right or wrong directions,
Oh.
no path to
Oh,
follow.
wait,
You could
wait.
just go
This
in
is-
any... Oh, thank heavens we avoided it. We're out of the woods now, Stanley. Okay, I'm going to get us out of here. Let's find another game.
Oh,
Preferably
I like
something
the
with
open
walls. Something with
world.
nice, big, insurmountable walls. Okay, I think this will be just the thing.
What's he got for me now?
Wonderful. See, this is exactly what I had in mind.
Is this like
Just
Rocket
a
League or
nice
something?
big box for you to run around in. There isn't any possibility that you could get lost here. Now this is game design. Stanley, if you
It's
manage to get lost in
Rocket
this game, I will be phenomenally impressed.
I mean...
Okay, so what exactly do we do here? Let's see. There are lots of cars here in the back, but
Let's
obviously
see.
there's no racetrack. Okay, I'm seeing that there's a ball of some kind back here. Is this game sports ball? Stanley,
Sports
I think
ball.
it's sports ball. Oh, what fun. We shall run the bases and do a touchdown together.
Yes.
I think surely
Touchdown.
we must.
And get the
Okay, Stanley,
three-pointers
here's
at the
ball.
buzzer.
Have fun.
A ball. That's right. Here we go. Zoom, zoom.
Are you doing it? Hold on.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Follow the ball.
Stanley, don't do that. I can't follow you there. I can't help you. How will you write a story without me? You can't do it. You know that. Stanley, come back. We still have so much.
Oh, we lost the narrator. Oh, fell through another hole. That's a good thing, right? Oh, look at all these doors. Lots of doorways. And there's a light at the end of the tunnel. That's a good thing, right? What we got here? Controls, cameras, nothing. So we got a double back. And
I
then
wonder
there was
what
blackness.
he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now.
I'm in
I
the
wonder if he's happy
beta
with
world.
his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon.
I'll be back.
Very soon. I can wait.
Can he, though? He seems pretty impatient a lot of the times. And we're back.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Oh, no. Oh, no, 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 not again. I won't be part of this. I'm not going to encourage you. I'm not going to say anything at all. I'm just going to be patient and wait for you to finish whatever it is you enjoy doing so much in this room.
Or wouldn't
Please
he like to
take
know?
your time.
Oh, I will. I'll take my time. I mean, look at this. Wrenches, duct tape, pliers, whatever's up there. Broom, mop, bucket. Glorious.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
I like how doors shut behind me. Up, please. didn't even take me anywhere. Does it just open the doors where I leave off? Wonder how long you have to sit in here for it to do something. It doesn't take us anywhere. That's upsetting.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
I suppose we'll go down. We have to. He's broke.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word Escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death. The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
But I've come so far.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Yes. Yup.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. And so he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly. And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
What indeed?
When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Let's see, we got the 2 doors. That's pretty cool. Yes. Office layout, yeah. Corridor. Office computers. Sure, let's go this way. Warzone. All right. What's in here? Narrator emails. Capybaras. Nice staying shape. Alright. Confusion. We got it over here. Much to see. Back over here.
Then he pushed the number 4. Stanley jumped in the river. Now look closely, Stanley. See how it's impossible for the player to do anything in this room? Perfect example of poor level design. Text Stanley stood on the roof. It's the kind of thing you'd pick up on intuitively if you had even the most fundamental understanding of good and bad game design. But of course, you being you, you'll probably spend the next hour trying to solve it. Here, I'm just going to make this easy on you. Well, in that case, I'll tell you what, you win. Congratulations. You did it. I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job.
Yay, I win.
What do we do now? I don't... Stanley, where are you right now? When Stanley came to... Where am I? He traveled upward. I'm trying to figure out, but I can't... Stanley, who am I? Can you speak to me? Please talk. Have we done this before? Have we been in this room before? How many times have we done this? How many times have I said these exact words? Say something. Anything. Help me, Stanley. I don't know who I... What I... Stanley, help. No. Stanley pushed the orange lever.
I want to push the orange lever. Push the orange lever. Exit. I don't want to go to the exit though.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let...
I let time choose.
The good old bucket. Just Stanley and the bucket. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
That's right.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was.
No.
How? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
I think not.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift. Good,
Said the bucket.
now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
In here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly. Now pick up the phone, said the bucket. Pick up the phone and it will take us back home, where we can go about life together.
Whoa, hold on. Why did you unplug the phone?
Because I did.
Were you trying to resist the bucket's orders?
That's
Stanley,
right.
I was joking. Obviously, the bucket isn't talking to you and telling you to do things. Buckets can't talk. It was a joke. Don't you get the joke?
My
It's funny,
bucket.
Stanley. A talking bucket. Can't you see? Oh, goodness. I must have really bungled up the delivery if you actually took me seriously. Where did I mess up the joke? Should I have paused for longer or spoken quicker? Comedic timing is so difficult. I wish I were better at it, but there isn't exactly an instructional video on comedy that one can watch to fully... Oh, wait, yes, there is. It's sitting right here. Let's take a look.
What is comedic timing? What is comedic timing? How does it work? How long should it last? How can it be used to effectively silence your political enemies? And more importantly, can it be taught in its
Political enemies.
entirety within 90 seconds? Thankfully, the answer to all of these questions is yes. Let's dive deeper. If you've ever told a joke or made someone laugh, in all likelihood, you did it while standing 50 to 80 centimeters from them in a room of no more than 76 degrees Fahrenheit,
No
with one
more.
of your arms raised straight upward at a 15-degree angle from your body. These are the optimal conditions for good comedic
I
timing.
mean, naturally.
To begin the joke, start by stating and spelling your name. Next, provide a brief synopsis of the joke, including the specific times at which the recipient of the joke will laugh, and then spell out your name a second time.
Spell out your
With
name.
these steps complete,
Second time.
it's time to begin the humor. Speak the entire joke in no more than 18 seconds and no less than 13 and a half, pausing only for bathroom breaks when necessary. When the joke has concluded, it is customary to inform your listener that the joke is over by declaring in your loudest possible voice, "I'm Dunny with the funny." Let's practice screaming, "I'm Dunny with the funny" now.
Wow. I'm done with that
This
funny.
saying is a perfect example of expectations management, which is the cornerstone of good comedy. Finally, it's time to hand out surveys. Collecting hard data from your audience on how rapt they were throughout the joke is the only way to grow or learn as a comedian. An effective survey should be no less than 10 pages long
No less.
and should include the same question reprinted several times, just to ensure the survey taker is actually paying attention
Wow.
and not simply filling in answers at random. And that's all there is. With these strategies at your disposal, you'll have audiences doubled over in laughter and even tripled over in laughter in no time at all. Just remember to let them stop laughing at some point, you gut-busting little scamp. After all, we're each of us needed on the front lines of the war to fight the 12-legged invader who threaten our very existence, and who very likely die in a hailstorm of bullets and mandibles. All of us must be prepared to give our lives to this noble
Watch out for
cause,
those mandibles.
just as our children must do after us, and their children after them. Godspeed, and may Earth reign supreme.
Right? I mean, obviously.
Hey, goodness, this video is a little outdated, isn't it? Well,
Outdated?
no matter. I think the fundamentals of proper comedic timing are still as relevant today as they were back then. So with that in mind, I believe the only way forward is for us to return to the two doors and walk through all of this again, so I can try telling my story with more appropriate comedic delivery. Come along, let's head back.
I mean, you could. Maybe we plug the phone back in? No? Alright, well. I mean, we could try.
I can feel it. This time, I'm really going to nail the delivery. You'll be in stitches. A talking bucket, you'll say? How ridiculous. How absurd. What a hilarious concept. The king of comedy. That's what you'll call me. Thank goodness we have the instructional video. Otherwise, who knows where we'd be right now.
Right?
Well, I wouldn't be the king of comedy, that's for sure. The bucket spoke to Stanley.
The bucket spoke.
The bucket spoke.
Oh, I'll figure it out on the fly. No need to overthink things.
Indeed. Right back here real quick.
Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left.
Yep.
What? We're back at the phone already?
That's
I
right.
don't know what's going on. There was supposed to be several rooms leading up to this.
Nah, I
There was
don't
supposed to
remember
be
that.
a build-up to this point. A dramatic display of remarkable comedic wit, which culminates in this scene with the phone.
No.
Now the timing's completely off. The joke will never land.
It's because
Not
you
the way
suck
it was
at telling
meant
the
to.
joke.
And it's all my fault. I must have forgotten that the phone room comes immediately after the 2 doors room.
Yeah.
What an egregious mistake. I've made a fool of myself. I don't deserve the title of King of Comedy. I'm nothing.
Clearly not.
I'm not even the lowliest joke-telling whelp. I think I need to go back and rewatch that instructional video again.
I think so.
Yes, surely that will help me improve my... Here we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left.
Clearly. And phone.
What? We're back at the phone already? No. Here we go. You ready?
Yes.
When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left.
Yep. Door on the right. And the phone.
What? We're back at the phone already? No.
I wonder how many times we can
Here
do
we
this.
go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left.
I wonder if they actually change anything or can change anything.
What? We're back at the phone already? No.
Oh, doesn't seem to change
Here
anything.
we go. You ready? When Stanley and the bucket came to a set of 2 open doors, they entered the door on the left.
All right,
No.
left it is.
You were supposed to go through the door on the right, leading back to the phone. Did you not even look at the instructional video? I think this is all covered very clearly. There's no way I can make the comedic timing work now. It's done. The joke is completely done and over. It's all your
Is it, though?
fault, Stanley. I'm going to be ridiculed in the community of other joke writers. I'm going to be shamed at every one of our meetings
like
from
the
now
broom
on.
closet.
All because you couldn't watch a simple video and take a hint. Are you proud of yourself for bringing me down, Stanley? Are you proud?
I mean, a little bit.
Stanley, you love the bucket so much it's like you... it's as though all of your other most prized possessions pale in comparison. Yes. Well, let me try that again.
Hell.
I heard that you are pale with shame over how unabashedly in love with a bucket you are. No? Still not? Is it the delivery? Pale with shame. Pale with shame? Pale... What's another word to describe a bucket? Stanley, this bucket is so mental. I think I saw it playing guitar. No. We're getting away from making fun of Stanley's obsession with the bucket, which was the whole point of this.
No, we're
I'm
not.
good
We're
at
fine.
Jokes. I need more instructional videos. That's exactly what it is. That's what will make me the king of comedy again. More instructional videos. Let's see.
Just a step through this door, Stanley thought to himself. That's all I need. If I can make it through this door, I can make it through them all.
Maybe. He don't know me, though. Let's skip the bucket for this run.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Maybe.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
They really don't want me in the broom closet now. They're taking it.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
I mean, did I though? What are our options here? The craziness. I mean, we don't have the bucket this time.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down?
Right.
Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went?
Exactly.
And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating?
Nah,
No,
they're
Stanley
all
said to
different.
himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what
Yeah,
a
must be
relief
it.
Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all.
Nope.
And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This
Magical
voice was a
stars.
part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one.
Nope.
Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please. It's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Yep. Completely normal.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
There we go.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
But does she have a bucket?
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work.
But she doesn't
But
have
on
a
this particular
bucket.
day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she
Everybody
thought
knows
to
what
herself
crazy
how
people
lucky
look
she
like.
was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Bye. And then we wake up.
All of his co-workers were... Wait, no. This isn't the right office, is it? Is this Stanley's office?
Yeah. Is it? Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Nope. Just past
The
the
lounge was grand, majestic, perhaps too, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Okay.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
But did I though?
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Gotta provide that input. No, I remember about the elevator. I swear the elevator did something else. Yeah, well. Let's go push some buttons in here.
The moment he entered his manager's office, Stanley froze in his
I don't
tracks.
remember what this is.
Not a living soul anywhere. Could he really be? Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk.
That's right.
That kind of anxiety isn't healthy. So he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music.
Did I? Oh, here we go. Yeah, my jam.
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Yeah, I guess.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Okay. See a button. Can I push it? Push.
The lights
There we
rose on
go.
an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the
Perhaps
strength to
mind
find
control
out?
facility? Schwapop.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This
How?
mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the
Probably.
only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
Perhaps.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he... Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you?
Oh,
After
I
they
did.
kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control?
Maybe.
Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say 2 minutes. Now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stan?
Yeah!
It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated. All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock, why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you.
Maybe.
Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button.
That's right.
Or this door. Everything, anything,
this
something here will
door.
save me. Why would you think that, Stanley?
Why would you think
that? This
that?
video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count, or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever after.
Yeah, I can see that. Right.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Oh, I'll find a coworker. Don't you worry about that.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. And here it was, the lounge. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
But do I?
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
I want to push the button.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track.
That's right.
So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left. Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake.
Indeed.
No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
This way. Alrighty.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler.
Oh,
Quick, Stanley,
spoiler.
close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
I mean, if that's what's best.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I miss no memos.
When Stanley... Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors?
did.
Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley.
That's right.
Let's find the story.
Let's go this way. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Let us. We are going.
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not? All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Backwards. Come on now. That's crazy talk. Backwards. Come on. Who goes backwards?
Aha! I knew we'd miss something. The story. Here it comes.
There it comes.
No, wait, never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
Oh, come on, guy. You can find the story. Let's go. You're just not trying hard enough. See,
Now
it's just worse.
Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all.
No,
Is this the story? I don't think so.
maybe.
I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct?
Is that correct?
Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job. Oh, no.
What's that, like the third time he says I've
this at
won?
all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people
But didn't
win fair and
I? I
square,
mean, look at
and this
all
was
those
not one of
years
those
pushing buttons on
situations.
my computer. Come on
Okay?
now.
I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart.
Restart. All right, dude, you do that. Here we go.
All right, I've got a
Yes.
solution. This time,
Adventure
to make sure we
line.
don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line.
That's right.
Just follow the line. How simple is that?
I mean, I'm not one to adhere completely to it, but I mean, we'll see where it goes, I suppose. As long as I can hit all of my monitors I want to hit. Yes. Oh, here we go. I can't push the buttons. Jump into the back rooms.
You see, the line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there?
I mean, generally.
Or to put it another way,
it's, you know.
is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Okay, Stanley, I need to follow this train of thought for a minute. Just stick with me. Now, we can both agree that the nature of existence is in fact a byproduct of one's subjective experience of that existence, right? Okay. Now, if my experience of your existence rests inside of your subjective experience of this office, is this office, in fact, the skeleton of my own relative experiential mental subjective construct? Whoa.
Sure.
Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
Yes. There we go. The music's so loud.
Wait, cut the music, go back and look at that fern.
Oh, yeah, you gotta look at that fern.
Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make
Yes.
sure you study it closely and remember it carefully.
Remember it.
You won't want to miss anything.
Okay. Good. Zig, 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 zig.
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
It's a line, so probably not. Here we go.
Oh, no, not again.
Spoilers.
Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
Hey guys, gonna stop the video here for now. Gotta save some content for next time. If you did enjoy the video, don't forget to like it, subscribe to my channel, and don't forget to smash that bell icon so you get notified when I post more of these videos. Don't forget, I have a Discord down below in the link, and along with all my other socials. So check those out, and I will see you guys in the next video. See ya.